Welcome to Part of the Solution, because what the world really needed was another podcast, except for this one actually cuts through the noise. Hi, I'm Natalie, your coach, speaker, truth teller, and your favorite no BS friend. Around here, we're talking health, healing, habits, hormones, and how to finally grow a mindset that gets out of your own way. There's no filters, just real conversations that might actually change your life. Megan and Nicole, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. I know that my audience on Part of the Solution podcast will absolutely love this conversation, but really this is for me. That's why I wanted to call you guys in. So I heard about you ladies through my kind of soul sister, Kat. Her and I met a couple years ago and we just connected immediately. Like our vibration, our friendship, we just had everything in common and we were just drawn to each other. So anything she vouches for, I'm interested in. And so welcome to the show, ladies.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Natalie, for having us. Yeah, we're really excited to be here. And we also love Kat. So
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And this morning she goes, tell them I said hi.
she's a lovely human.
Yes, for sure. So she speaks so highly of how she's working with you two and kind of what's happened on her end since. Why don't you just tell the audience exactly who you are and what you do?
All right. Well, we're sisters. My name's Nicole,
My name's Megan.
and we are the co-founders of a company called Zenchronicity. We work in somatic realignment and transactional analysis when we get real fancy. But really what we do is we help majority of women with severe dysregulated nervous systems because they were raised to be boys and not females. And so what we do is we really help women understand what's going on in their nervous system truly, outside of like, hey, go do this tapping routine and go do yoga and put your feet in the ground. Like there's a lot of coaches out there that'll do that. However, we don't look at it that way. We look at it from a scientific background, scientific based. Everything we do is founded fundamentally in science, and then we connect the spiritual world with that. Mainly what we do is a lot of people come to us and they have a part of their brain, the broca, which is a communication center of their brain that has been wired incorrectly when they were born. If anybody is not familiar with the broca, it is the little small part of your brain that is actually, when you don't know how to communicate correctly, which is majority of the world, it's actually atrophied. And what Megan and I do is we teach correct communication and understanding the difference between communicating from your masculine side and to communicate from your feminine side.
That is incredible. Can we back up for 1 second? You said
Absolutely.
we were raised to be boys. What does that mean?
Yeah, great question, Natalie. So, in the world in which we currently live in, women, this goes very far back, but women were pretty much. We actually, Megan and I were having this conversation the other day, and I had an epiphany. So, the closest thing that we can look at right now is the feminist movement. Now, where the feminist movement was actually rooted in a lot of positivity, what it did to women was actually make them men. We gave them we did not liberate women, we liberated men. We gave them free sex, we went into the workforce, someone made a lot more taxes, we sent our kids to school, and women really became men. Now in psychology, Carl Jung, which is what Megan and I are fundamentally based out of, Carl Jung believed that women have a masculine soul and a feminine body. Men have a masculine body, feminine soul. You will never meet a man more softer than a woman because of his internal world. Women, the same. We can be one hell of a boss. Women can be the best CEO you ever met, but that is heavily masculine energy. So what happens is that when we are not cherished as little girls, we go into our masculine and we can protect ourselves. A lot of the generation, we're millennials. So a lot of our father, we can speak from our father, did not cherish us. He treated us like little boys. Do better, work harder. What grades did you get? Do. And a lot of people listening, I want to ask you, like, when was the last time, if you can go back into your childhood, when did someone ask you how you felt? Genuinely care about your feelings, or what did you create today? So in a world right now that we currently live in, women are hyper masculine and men are hyper feminine.
Okay, I'm raising a 14-year-old son and an 8-year-old girl.
Mhm.
How do I not raise her as a little boy? Like, how do I, because I completely agree with you. Like, I was raised kind of similar that way, and I would have called myself like a tomboy, you know?
Absolutely.
But I
Absolutely.
also have never thought about it in that way or
Mhm.
thought that anything was wrong with the dialogue I used or what I was doing or pushing them into sports or just whatever. I never thought of raising a child as a masculine or feminine energy. So that is kind of mind-blowing.
Well, everybody's androgynous. Like Nicole said, the Carl Jung, right? We're feminine bodies, masculine souls. That makes us androgynous. Men are masculine bodies, feminine souls, androgyny. So it's good to develop both sides. The problem is that we didn't develop our feeling side. We suppressed our
Mhm.
feelings in order to think through everything. We don't feel through things, we think through things. Feminine needs to feel good to do good.
What does
Masculine.
feeling through things mean?
So feeling things is not like, how do I fix this? What do I do about it? It's how do I feel? Okay?
Mhm.
So you come from feelings. This doesn't feel good. Then secondary, what do I do about it? So first it's this doesn't feel good or this feels good. Then, so that's the heart. Feminine is heart-centered. Feel first. How does my body feel? How is my body reacting to this? Does this feel good? Does this feel bad? What's happening in my nervous system? That's what we don't do. We go to our head and go logic, 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 logic. And then
Yeah.
our bodies suffer. Okay? That's
Severely.
masculine.
Severely.
Masculine goes, what do I think about this? They think first, feel second. So you have polarity. You have a feeling centered person and a thinking centered person, which goes together beautifully. But when you have a thinking person and a thinking person, that's friendship. Feeling person, friendship. So the problem with our world today is that people don't have polarity. They don't understand their own polarity, so they can't bring it into a relationship. So for
Mhm.
women, we feel first, then we think. For men, you want to raise him to solve a problem, and his feelings come secondary. So you teach little boys, okay, what do you want and what are you going to do about it? You teach little girls, what do you don't want, okay, and how do you feel about it?
Yeah. God, you're
So
so right.
so women need to come from don't want because it's a no. We lead men with our no. Ouch. If a woman can say no and ouch, she's in her feminine because you cannot explain those. Okay? Men can explain. If you explain or defend, you are in your masculine. If you say that doesn't feel good, I'm not comfortable, a man goes, okay. Let me fix that. How do I make you comfortable? That's a man in his masculine. But if a woman goes, oh, this is how we fix it, this is what we do, but she's a man. And that's
So the
fine.
idea is to blend those.
The idea is to have both. You as a woman, so what we do is get women in touch with their feelings, okay? Come from your feelings in your relationship. When you're at work, you're a boss. You are a man. Be in your head, solve your problems, everybody else's.
Tell them what to do,
Tell them what
how
to
to
do,
do
how to
it.
do it, blah, blah, blah. Great. I love that because we're all men at work. We're doing good. We are doing for, we are being of service. That's masculine. That's great. I love
Mhm.
that. Okay. That's not the problem. It's when we come home and we're raising our kids and we're with our husbands and we don't have intimate relationships because we're men. And our men are like, where's my place? You can solve your own problems. You can do things better than I can. Who am I for you? Right? Because men just want to make women happy. Everything men do is for women. Very little of what we do is for men.
Facts.
Okay? We don't need men. They need us. Okay?
Why do we feel the opposite?
Because we were raised wrong.
Yeah.
We're inside out. It's called being ego dystonic.
So
And
to answer your question about your daughter, cherish her feelings.
Mhm.
What does she want? What makes her feel good? If she sits there and says that this sports doesn't feel good, you don't do it. You don't push
Yeah.
her into that. For your son, he's past the age of 11. You do not cherish him.
you're a woman with him. He cherishes you.
You respect him, and he solves his own problems.
You're like, I'm going to the gym, figure out how to get to
You
practice.
don't ask him how he feels.
Nope.
You don't cherish his feelings
Nope.
anymore.
Nope.
You say, "I have a problem, help me fix this."
You do not cherish him. After 11, a little boy is a man. It is either the father's responsibility and the mother's responsibility to make him a man.
I kind of feel that. And I feel as though he has transitioned into that quite well. Now that
Good.
you say and speak those words, and I'm analyzing the relationship, he is my stepson, but we're together all the time. I raise
Yeah.
him as my son.
Mhm.
And it has been incredible to watch the independence
Yep. Good.
from him. I will say, and this could be totally off topic, the common sense on his end is not there.
Well, so most men, the thing too is women guide men. So if you see something, you say to him, hey, I see this is going on. Can I offer up an opinion? You ask permission. That's respecting him. You don't tell
Mhm.
him, do this. No, he's a man now.
Okay. So
You
we
don't tell
offer
him how to
opinions.
do it. You ask him if he would like guidance. Hey, I'm observing this. Would you like my input? If he says
Yeah.
no, you don't say anything else.
Well, and his mother, is she in his life?
Yes.
Okay, she's the important parent.
Yes.
Okay, dad's the example, mom's the goal for a little boy. Opposite
Okay.
for a daughter, right? Mom's the example, dad's the goal. So the opposite sex is the important parent.
Got it.
Also, how they see God, higher power, everything is the opposite sex. Okay, because it's soul plane. So his mother probably solves his problems for him.
Yes.
If he doesn't have common sense, she hasn't made him into a man because common sense is masculine.
Yep.
Feminine walks around and goes,
Mm,
I don't know, there's danger. What? Ah, oh, you're supposed to protect me. If a man's doing that, then his mom cherishes him.
gotcha.
So even though you would represent the feminine, it's her that's
Yep.
important to him. So you're an important figure and you can still have influence, but
Yeah.
how she treats him, that's cherishing if he's not understanding the world and seeing common sense, because common sense would be the masculine trait.
Yeah.
So anytime he comes to you with a problem, even if he asks, say, well, that's interesting. How are you going to solve that? Never,
Yeah.
never solve his problems for him. If he's like, I just don't know, you're like, okay,
Okay.
well, I'm willing to offer you a suggestion if you want to hear it. And
Yeah. So
okay,
do you want me to listen or do you want advice or my thoughts?
correct.
Okay. Yeah.
You let him lead. You're also building confidence in his world, um, that, he's a sentient being, he's an autonomous being, and that because we build our children's confidence. I don't have
Yeah.
children. That sounded like I had children, but we do as when we become parents. It's kind of like you want to see how somebody parents, look at how their dog behaves. Yeah, it's a really good because how we train dogs is basically how we treat children. It's a very
God, I feel
similar
good about that.
energy.
I've got a great dog.
Yeah. And so some women actually have done a really good job just with intuition and instinct with raising their
Mhm.
children, and they're like, "Oh, well, I've done that. I just didn't recognize I was doing it." But it
Yes. I
depends on,
identify with that.
yeah, it depends a lot on also how your dad was. So, for us, we've had to retrain ourselves because our dad was extremely effeminate because he was an alcoholic. Because men that use mind altering chemicals are feminine, women that use mind altering chemicals are masculine. Because you shut down the body in order for the soul to take over because you can't deal with pain properly. It's a pain
Yes.
problem. Addiction is a pain
Yes.
problem. So it's really fascinating. But we are seeing in the next generations really the masculine shifting. The millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha are pretty much lost generations. But
Pray
there
for him.
are a few that you're really seeing this flip back. And it's kind of interesting because, you know, a lot of the generations completely just gone. I don't know if we'll ever be able to help them. And then there's this other piece where you're like, oh, you're really seeing like souls step in and I think really helping because the human race is in trouble. I mean, I guess just the easy way to put it. Our behavioral patterns is, I think that's also what happened with the dinosaurs. It's behavioral patterns that made them go extinct. It's behavioral patterns that are putting us at risk for going extinct because we can't have
Yes.
relationships.
Well,
So,
Atlantis, Rome. Look
yeah, you got
at
a
all of
lot.
it. Egypt, fall of all of them. I mean, Egypt was a little bit more sophisticated, but if you look through centuries of history, it truly does just repeat itself.
I think we're our own worst enemies and we will be the downfall. Absolutely. I want to back up for a minute in regards to the you talked about like the addiction and how you were raised and all of that. So I think I'm the top tier of a millennial. I was born in 82.
Yeah, you're
Yep.
like right on the cusp.
Yep.
Hmm.
And I feel as though my parents showed and taught me exactly how not to be by their dysfunction.
Absolutely.
So I think they said, let me subconsciously in some fucked up way said, I'll do everything wrong. So
Yeah.
you're a better parent to this next generation. And that is really the way and I don't want to say it was all bad. There was some good stuff sprinkled in. Sorry, Dad, if you're listening, but it was pretty fucking crazy. And so I feel as though for me to make sense of it through my journey of healing and understanding, I just see it as them showing me exactly how not to be, and
Hmm.
that's how I choose to look at it, and I'm
Yeah.
actually grateful, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't change a thing about it, and I
Absolutely.
do feel as though I am a better person, parent, role model, mentor because of that,
Hmm.
and a lot of cycles were broken, and I really agree, and so thank you for validating that by what you're sharing.
Yeah, I mean, generations before us, the thing is like they didn't know any better. They didn't have, I
Yeah.
mean, you look at, okay, so you look at Generation Silence, that was leading into the Depression era. Then we had, or it was in the Depression era. So a lot of those individuals came out like, massive hoarders. There was severe hoarding, but that we're now even seeing still in generations.
Yeah.
Then we had the boomers, right? Because then I mean, that was a generation of just like explosion, massive wealth, massive opportunities. You got to see a generation that there was a lot of things swept under the rug. Like that was a generation no one talked about anything. It was the generation that started really heavily into, you could really say the subculture of pharmaceuticals started to take place. That's really started liberation of like this whole movement started in the boomers, right? There was a massive push. And as you trickle down through, you can start to see like what was taken and what was left, or what was taken and what was used, right? And there's gratitude towards all the generations because we either can say, yes, I want to continue that pattern, or no, I'm not going to be a victim to it. I'm going to respect and honor my parents and the generations before us, or I continue to repeat the pattern. We were talking to our dad the other day. Megan was having a conversation. He's 66 and he's just realizing that holy shit, he's his father. It took him 66 years to realize that. Like, and honestly, Megan told me that, and I was like, well, good for him. Like, he's realizing his patterns. It took him a little while to grow up, but like, no one could have told. Like, we could have sit there and told him, like, dude, you're literally repeating a pattern. But he had to figure it out on his own. And
Oh,
that's
well,
the
yeah.
choice that every relationship, and that's heavily of what we work into, is everybody you interact with, everyone you come across is a mirror. You either get to choose to step in and heal that reflection, or you get to continue to perpetuate the problem or the within you.
Yeah, I truly feel that. And I have gained that throughout the years in my journey of healing and sobriety and different modalities of therapies and education. And I mean, for instance, starting this podcast was just part of learning new things and new ways to heal myself. And that is part of the reason why I was curious with you ladies. I know that you guys offer different courses, classes, mentorships, and then microdosing along with that. Can we talk a little bit about that? And it's going to be a two-parter because I want to talk about my case specifically at one point of like, here I am sober. Um, and although I was very involved in AA and fellowship the
Mm-hmm.
first couple years,
Hmm.
I don't really involve myself in it very much anymore. So I'm very curious about doing this, but also slightly nervous.
Absolutely. So I'll cover the AA part, and then Megan, you want to answer the rest from there. Does that work? Okay, cool. So, um, AA is probably one of the most beautiful programs created. Bill Wilson was an unbelievable man. However, he was kind of crazy in some of his philosophies. Bill Wilson, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but he did a lot of drugs when he was creating AA. Yes, he was a womanizer. Yes, he was very broken. However,
Careful calling them drugs.
oh, well, like LSD. like actual drugs, right?
Well, he did plant medicine. I mean,
Well, he did synthetic forms. And so, a lot of the AA world does look at that stuff as drugs. Like that's, the synthetic form of drugs and things like that. Now, to clarify, there's a difference between a synthetic form of something like LSD. It's a synthetic derivative of psilocybin. Ketamine is a horse tranquilizer. There's synthetic forms that actually can cause psychosis, psychotic breaks, things like that. What we work in is pure form of what we and I believe and Megan believe is plant medicine, indigenous practices. Very different than going through a chemical process where it can actually alternate your brain and cause other issues. So I always like to clarify that, and I thank you for saying that, Megan, because there's a difference between plant medicine,
Yes.
which is a true form of its true being. You grow, psilocybin grown, dried, consumed, no chemical process is a plant medicine coming directly from Mother Earth. LSD is a broken down form of psilocybin, gone through a chemical process, severely synthesized in a chemical based lab, then put into tablets, into other things, therefore cocktailed and stuff like that. So, two totally different worlds. One, I believe if it goes through a synthetic process, that is a drug. It ends up on the street, that is a drug. Very few people have breakthroughs with drugs, or there's a lot of habitual abuse because it can become severely addictive. Plant medicine, on the other hand, there has been no clinical and or any scientific based research ever found where you can become addicted to it because your body recognizes it on an energetic frequency. You consume mushrooms, it's an energetic frequency from Mother Earth that is coming into your body and saying, I'm going to show you this. And so I just want to clarify that Bill Wilson did drugs. He did drugs. He tripped acid. He did a lot of things. But at the baseline of AA, he did bring a lot of beautiful things, and a lot of people are sober because of that program. But I also know through the generations, it's changed a lot, and there's been a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't know if I really believe in this, or they've kind of changed the perspective of sobriety. Now, I genuinely believe everybody needs a 12-step program. Like the world is whack. It keeps you accountable. It keeps your side of the road very clean. And so with that, that's, very different, totally different worlds. What psilocybin really does in the brain is it reprograms and helps soften the neuroplasticity. So up until the 70s, we actually didn't think that the brain could change itself. And there's a great book. I always get the author wrong. What is his name? I always enunciate it wrong.
It's The Brain That Changes Itself, Norman Dojkovic.
Yes. And he proved that the brain can change itself till the moment it dies. And psilocybin is one of, at very low doses, softens the neuroplasticity in the brain. So we look at the brain, if you look at the brain, it's like a computer software system, right? It's programmed and wired from the age of utero to 3. We're scripted into our parents. That's our software system. If we don't choose to change it, or we don't have some form of coaching or a clear view of what it truly should be, then we're stuck in that scripting. We insert psilocybin. It softens the neuroplasticity, and it's a direct link into the DMN, which is the default mode network. That is where our scripting lives outside of the Broca. And so therefore, you're allowed to see psilocybin in very small doses allows you to start seeing patterning. They start to see, oh, well, that's really triggering. Oh, wow, I'm like not communicating there. And it starts bringing things up so that then it gives you the ability to start re-scripting your old scripting. So we're really teaching people how to override their old software system. And we pretty much, with the guidance of psilocybin, insert a new software system.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
So I just want to elaborate a little bit. The issue that I have with the 12-step programs is that they teach tolerance.
Yes.
So it's like
Explain that more.
So tolerate this, tolerate that. When you're in tolerance, you are in what's called mortido. Okay, this is the third law of thermodynamics, right? This is quantum physics. I'll just make it very simple, though.
Yeah, I was like, please make this simple.
But if you want to know more, okay. So
And don't ask ChatGPT this, because I did the other day and it was actually wrong. Go find an actual quantum physics book. Okay, go ahead.
So you have a choice every day, okay, of being in Mortito energy, which more morbid, right? Death energy, decay energy, okay? So if you're in tolerance, you are in decay energy, okay? The other part of that, so the light side is libido, and people often mix that up and it has been used as sex energy. Okay, well, it's been used as sex energy because it's actually creation energy. Sex is creation energy. You're trying to create a child, right? Even if you're just practicing, that's still the goal in the energetic frequency that is life. It is creative energy. So, creative energy or libido says I accept or reject because then I can let it go. But if I'm in tolerance, I'm obsessing about how to fix something or someone or something or myself. Okay. We have to accept that we are finite, fallible human beings. You can't reject that. That just is. Okay. But we get the power every day to accept or reject what's going on within our world. So just because you accept something doesn't mean you need to approve of it. Okay. So if somebody's an alcoholic, I accept that they're an alcoholic. I go, okay, well, that's your life choice. Except you're not tolerating them. You're saying you have a right to be who you are, drink if you want, and live your life the way that you want. I'm not going to tolerate this. I'm going to accept it because you have a right as a human being to live your life the way that you see fit. But if I'm more Tito and I'm in tolerance, I'm like, well, when are they going to change? I can't believe that they're doing this. Don't they realize that they're destroying themselves and they're destroying my life? It's a negative energy frequency. So anytime we're in tolerance, right? When our clients come to us and they're like, I'm just so frustrated. What are you tolerating?
Also known as codependency.
What is going
Yes,
on
I
in
was
your
just going to
life?
say that.
Also known as codependency.
So,
Yeah.
but Bill Wilson, that's the only thing, the only flaw I've ever found in the 12-step program is that it teaches tolerance, and that is an issue. So when people come to us, we teach them because all addicts, everybody's an addict in my opinion. Just
100%.
depends on pick your poison. Everybody needs a little bit of oblivion, okay? But it's in moderation. And when we have addiction, okay, this is the other side. Anger is normal. But when we are in defiant anger, we have a spiritual problem, and that is addiction because we cannot communicate. We cannot say, I reject that, no, or I accept that, okay, you have a right to live your life. You are intolerance to the point where you don't know how to get out of your own pain and it turns to suffering. You
Mhm.
do not know the three laws of the universe that a pain is a non negotiable, and that just means change in progress or change needed. That's all pain is. But an addict doesn't understand that because they weren't taught how to deal with it. Okay. Uncertainty, that's just life. Nothing is certain. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. So just deal with it. Okay. And the third one is constant work. I don't know how many people come to us and they're like, when's the work over? I just want it to be done. I'm like, well, good luck. Let me know when you figure out
They
the
want it like a college course. They're like, what's my syllabus? It's called life. Welcome to the Thunderdome.
So
Yeah,
that's
it's a daily practice. It's a
yes.
daily thing, and that's how
Daily.
change and growth happens. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, I am constantly wondering if am I satisfied or is it supposed to be this way? Do I have this urge to keep learning and growing and is that normal?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you use the right word there, satisfied.
Yes.
Okay. When you're in
Yeah.
gratification, you're in hedonism and you're in your
Mm.
addiction. Addicts want a gratifying life. They want to be gratified all the time. People that are satisfied, right? It's like you eat until you're satisfied.
Mhm.
Gratification is when you eat the whole pie and then you're like, oh no. Okay, that's deep,
Yeah.
deep hedonism. And as fun as hedonism is, you live fast and you die young. That's just the life of a hedonist. Or you take on more of a stoic, and you don't live fast and furious, right? You live calm and satisfying, and you find pleasure in things, and you believe in feelings, and you believe in love. It's not this like high, fast, moving pace. And I remember when I used to be hedonist, and I was like, I just want more and things, and just high and now I'm like, I just really like chill and
Yeah.
calm and connection. And it's not the high highs and the low lows, but it's such a much more um, just satisfying way to be because
Mhm.
you're just calm and at peace. And that is so much better than these like just crazy emotions, because emotions are rooted in the past and trauma. It's like your nervous system's always burnt out because you're always in fight or flight. And yeah, sure, that's
Yeah.
like, high dopamine and low dopamine and norepinephrine and all these fun chemicals. But my gosh, my body and my mind paid the price over and over and over
And
again.
I think after a while, it's going to crave that rest, that harmony. I mean, I got sober when I was 28. So for 28 years, it was fucking chaos. It was
Yeah.
always high, low, high, low, high, low. And I thrived
Yep.
there, right?
Yep.
And it took me years in sobriety and then personal development to
Yep.
realize I don't want to thrive in chaos. Like that is not something I should strive for. And I did for a
Right.
long time because it validated my feelings. It made me feel powerful. It made me feel like people knew who I was or just special or whatever because I never felt like anybody saw me beforehand.
Yeah.
I just felt like it was more what was happening for everybody else and I was this victim
Yeah.
of what was being done to me, not done for me.
Yeah.
And it's all this balance and now I want this harmony, this
Yeah. Peace.
peace. I want
Yeah.
to chill more. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be so extreme. And I think
Mhm.
kids, especially having my own daughter, she's 8 now, but just she has shown me that I crave and desire more of that balance.
Love.
Kids
Children
are
teach us
the
love.
kids are so Megan and I sat in ayahuasca a couple years ago, and there was a 7-year-old. Her name was Zoe, and her
She was
mother
so cute.
was they were from Germany, right? Yeah. Her she sat in ayahuasca at 7 years old. And I'll never forget the next morning, Megan had gotten attacked by a tree the night before,
Okay,
and
yeah, that tree.
it was so entertaining. Anyway, so we walked over to everybody and gave everybody a hug in the morning. And the shaman said, "You don't need medicine, you need children because children are the purest form of medicine. You want to learn anything about anything, hang out with kids.
Yeah.
They
Facts.
will teach you anything and everything that you need to know."
Mhm.
God, it is so true. It makes me emotional just
Yep.
listening to you say that and also just agreeing with you and
Yep.
knowing that in the heart and like the love that you have, yeah, it changes everything. Let's segue into love because there's been a couple of your recent uploads on Instagram that I've listened to and a lot of it has to do with love and I just want to speak on that more just because it hit me hard. Like it just was something where I was like craving. As soon as I listened to your last, I think 2 or 3, I was like, "Oh, I gotta know more. Tell me more."
Well, I'll just make a comment here because Megan, I know Megan recently did it. What happened last week with Charlie Kirk? I think it was a massive awakening on what people truly have been craving. I think that there's a lot of hate in this world that so many people felt but never had actually seen. It shook the shit out of the world, shook the shit out of them. And I think a lot of people didn't realize the power of love and love will always conquer all. And
Mhm.
we watch England, 2 million people took to the streets in love.
Yeah, so in my opinion, and it's actually really not my opinion because it's actually just the energetic frequency. What has been lost in this world is the feminine. And like I said earlier, we are the heart center. The
Hmm.
heart is legitimately the frequency of love. It's how we connect to everything. And when I look at addiction or I look at like anything in life, nothing means anything without love. Okay. It's you see all these like academics studying and doing all of these things and it's like, oh, okay, well they get a god complex because they're not actually having the energy of love and of service in their field. Okay, when we love ourselves and we love other people, the world becomes a better place. But the problem is that most people don't even know what love means or what love is.
What does it mean and what is it?
So to me, love, like how we measure love, okay, because that's always interesting, is the contracts and commitments you're willing to make and keep to yourself and others. That's your word. Okay, that's why the heart chakra and the throat chakra are connected. You have a block in one, you have a block in the other. Most women have a block in both.
Hmm.
So to me, love is, do I show up? Do I keep my word? Am I willing to do what is right versus doing what is easy? Do I love myself enough to show up for me and then show up for other people? No matter what. It doesn't matter what they're doing, how they're acting. Am I showing up as my best self? And when we show up for ourselves, meaning like if I say I'm going to go to yoga in the morning and I don't, you don't love yourself. That is not keeping your word. If you say
Mhm.
that you're going to go to dinner with your husband and then you decide that you're too tired, you don't love yourself and you don't love him or her or whatever, right? This is gay, straight, lesbian. I don't care what you are. Love is love, and love is about showing up. Love is about choosing an energy and doing the best that you can to show up in that energy so that somebody else can take up space and somebody else can feel love, because we feel love like people mix up sex and love all the time. Okay? No. Love is understanding somebody and holding space for them. I understand you, I see you. That's why when we teach communication, we teach you love strokes. You
Autonomy.
I understand how you're feeling. I see you. You have the right to be yourself. That is love. Giving somebody the right to be who they are is how you share the energetic frequency of love. It's not when you're hugging and kissing and making love and doing those things. Okay. That just shows you where you're at energetically. How you actually create that kind of a space is how you let somebody be who they are. And you're not trying to change them, you're not trying to manipulate them. You're just saying, I see you and I understand you. Now, you may want to say, however, like, I don't feel comfortable with how you're acting, or that doesn't feel good to me. But you always give a right to be, you always give the right for somebody to be who they are. That is love. I always tell people you have to love everybody, but you don't have to like them. Like is actually
Yeah.
what's important. Okay. If I have somebody in my life, I love them and like them. But the people on the street, even the crazy people that are effed up on fentanyl that'll like scream in your face, I still have love for them. I don't like them. I don't want to be around them. Like is what is important. We must give everybody love. That is,
Let me
go ahead. Yeah.
I want to ask a scenario type question.
Okay.
So we're all in marriages and relationships,
Yep.
and there's the constant disconnect with relationships of like, yes, I love you, but I can't stand that you do this or
Yep.
that or act this way. From your position, and I know that you guys are experts on communication and teach that as well, how would you navigate a conversation of like, "Hey, I love you. I'm in love with you. I wanna be with you, but I can't stand this about you," or, "I want you to change this." And I know that there's a part of, like, the mothering versus loving, all of
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah.
I'd love to talk about that because I think a lot of people have that issue.
Okay. Never,
That's a
never,
great question.
never, 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 never say but.
Yes.
I love you, but is saying I don't actually love you.
Yeah.
I love you, however,
Is that
okay?
better?
However is always better because it's saying pause, right? But is like cut, delete. However says flow into. So
Okay.
it's
It's
allowing you to
acceptance.
lead in.
My
But,
husband
but,
says that to me a lot. "Don't say this, but." And I'm like,
yes,
"Well, how else do I say it?"
however.
Well, we can go into
However,
we can
how,
also go into this and
yeah.
that. That's a totally different topic, but
So if
Yeah,
you're,
but
that's
and
episode
however,
2.
so if
episode
you're
2.
talking to a man is different than a woman. Okay. If you're talking to a woman, you could be like, I love you, however, and you could just go straight into it because women have two neurological connections in the brain we think and feel simultaneously. So we can just blah, 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 blah. Okay. To a man, a right-handed man, you have to make an appointment. Honey, I have something sensitive to share with you. Are you available to hear it? He'll say yes. You say, is now a good time? Because he has to go into his feelings. That's dangerous for a man.
Very.
Okay. And he'll go, oh, yeah, honey, like I can sit down. I can make space for you. Or he'll say, well, maybe in an hour. I got something
I
else
have a
I got to
call.
do. Okay. So
And
you
hold on.
have,
Let me pause there for a second. If he puts work above you in that moment, he's in his work box. Men only have a box at a time. Don't get mad at him.
just say, okay,
I
honey.
say, okay, honey, I'll see you in a couple hours. Let me know. And then you go to the gym or go for a walk or I don't know, go
Yeah,
do you.
because men only have one neurological connection between each lobe. So what we do in 4 minutes can take them 4 months. They need time to shift their man boxes. Our brains look like spaghetti. Theirs looks like dresser drawers, and they can only open one drawer at a time. Okay, we're like in the mix with everything. Women's brains are more complex than a man's, and women need to
Great
understand that.
analogy.
Okay, they need to
And it has
understand
to
that
be, the door has to be closed, like clicked closed. They can't be
Yeah.
like cracked open. That's not how men's brains work.
men are simpler than women. Get
Very.
over it. You have more responsibility. Women bitch about this all the time, and I just tell them to get over it. This is how it is. Deal with it, or go date women. That's an option. I don't
You,
care, and I will help you date women. I don't really care. But if you're going to deal with a man, deal with the fact that they move slower than we do, and they're much more meticulous, and they're much more methodical, and we're like Ferraris cruising down the interstate, okay? They're like Bentleys that are on a cruise. Like they're just chilling. And we're like fast and furious, okay? Women, we got to learn how to chill and be patient with men. That's why the number one virtue of the feminine is patience. I really understand that more and more as I spend time with men because it's like,
Yeah.
holy moly, how if
they're
I would have
so
known
slow.
this in my 20s, I would have not been, probably killed a couple men because I would, it's seriously that way
I
that
know.
men when we're, but anyway. So you make an appointment with a man and then you say, babe, I love you. I understand why you're doing whatever it is that you're doing. However, what's the word?
Keyword.
Yeah. However, it really just does not feel good that I'm always doing the dishes. How about that? Because that's a big one.
is
And
is this a particular behavior he has, or is it like what is like an example? What is it like? It'll be a lot easier. Is it like a weird tick he has, or is it like he won't take out the garbage? Like what is it? Because they're
It's a tick. It's not, no, it's not no, it's not like that. It's a tick. It's a fundamental way about himself. It's an ego.
okay, men's
okay.
weakness is their ego. Men have so much ego and we have so much vanity. The weakness in a woman is vanity, the weakness in a man is ego. We just go, all right, babe. You just see it. And so so I always ask women this. If it's a fundamental part of their personality, okay? Is it a deal breaker for you? Is he still 51% valuable within the relationship? And the women usually go, no, it's not a deal breaker. He's 51% valuable. I'm like, then just get over it. It's part of who he is.
Yeah,
You
you can't
cannot
change
change
it.
something fundamentally about something. You especially can't change the male ego. It's fragile. They need admiration. They need sex. They need all these things. They're so much more fragile than we are. And so if it's a part of his personality and it's not just the dishes, you're fine.
Well, and also look at it. So like flip it. We always tell women to like flip it. How is it serving you? Because it could be something that is so deep in his ego that it's serving you and you're missing it. It's just annoying the fuck out of you. So looking at it
Yeah,
and
that's a
saying,
great point.
like flip it. Like why is this so triggering to me? And also like it possibly could be serving me because we go back to the fact that men do everything for women. So and if yeah, we can't change an ego problem, but we can stroke it. Or we can, if it's a continuing behavior, we can not draw attention to it. But we don't want to constantly, if we nag or bitch or moan about it, that's mothering.
You don't have nagging
You don't
rights.
get nagging rights. Go find your fucking friends and go nag and bitch and moan to them because trust me, he ain't gonna fix it.
Well, and I always say, like, try to use a 5-to-1 ratio, meaning like, baby, I love when you do this. I love when you do that. Like, compliment what he's doing correctly and what you love about what he does. So that way, when you bring up, like, hey, babe, I love you, and I know this is just a part of you. However, it drives me insane. Do you think you could damper it a little bit? You have so much positive admiration that he may shift it and go,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I don't want to lose her admiration. She's so kind to me. She loves me. She strokes my ego. So I always tell women, play to men's egos constantly. Just, it might seem overdone to you. Okay. It might be like, oh my God, like this is just ridiculous. But also, like, does it sound ridiculous when he tells us 5 times a day we're pretty? No, that feels
Yeah.
good. So, what
Yeah.
we think is extreme is actually what they need as men to feel like they're doing good. Okay. When you compliment them and you admire them, You're telling them you're doing great, babe. And so then he feels good.
So these
So
are fundamental differences between male and female.
correct. In the
Yes.
brain, we are vanity. We want to be told we're pretty, right? We want to be told, babe, that dress looks amazing on you. Hey, babe, like you've obviously been working out. You look great. Like we love the physical, right? Because we rule the ethereal. So we need compliments in the physical. Men are the opposite. Men rule the material. So they need compliments in the ethereal, what they're doing. And so when we give admiration to men, you'll be amazed at what husbands will do because you are feeding
There
the
you
very
go.
essence of their life force. Okay, the sex is going to be better. He's going to be more giving in bed. He's going to be like, "Babe, do you need help with something? What do you need?" Because
Quite.
you're feeding his masculinity, and it's not that much work for us. We might roll our eyes and be like, "Oh my God, men are so simple," but it's actually working in your relationship to make it better. And he's basically eating out of the palm of your hand.
Yes.
Okay, just like men, right, that tell women that they look great and da 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 da, and just are it's all about women in bed and things like that, right? A man should never ask for sex because if he's grabbing his wife's ass and cleaning and fixing all the cars and doing everything that a man ought to do, which is taking care of the material plane, trust me, he's not asking for sex
Her
because
libido is,
she's like, I'm keeping this one.
yeah.
Okay, when men are asking for sex, they're failing at doing good. I always tell men this. Okay, does your
Mm.
wife want to have sex with you? No? Well, don't ask for it.
Start doing
Tell
something.
me, can you
How
help
does a guy make his wife want to have sex with them?
make it about her? A woman should have 3 orgasms before a guy even dreams of having one. Okay?
Agreed.
If you make it about her, she will be eating out of the palm of your hand. If you give her multiple orgasms, she will make sure this is going to be a little bit that your dick is so satisfied that you wouldn't even want to look at another woman. But when men make it about them and they just shove it in, we have all been there, right?
That sounds so vile.
But it is. It's like there's no foreplay. It's not about you. It's about him getting off. He's in his feminine. That's about him. That's him being a woman. He's about his feelings and his gratification. If
Yeah.
a man is a man, he's men give, protect, and cherish. Guess where the most give can be? Orgasms.
Well, but also, like Megan said, when a man is doing good on the material plane, right? Like the you don't have to make a honey-do list. The chores are done because he saw the lawn needs mowed. He says, "Hey, babe, I'll take the kids. Go to the gym, have some you time. Like, I understand. Let me take some weight off your shoulders."
Right.
That relaxes her nervous system. Guess what then she's going to want to do? She's going to have all the sex in the world with you because she's not in her head. She's like, "Oh my God, I have time to have sex with him because the trash is taken out, the dishes are done, the things are done, the finances are taken care of. I don't have to stress about this. I don't have to stress about that." And then there's time. And it's like amazing how simple it is. But like, this is one thing, like women went back to work, women stepped out of the house, women started doing all of this shit, like taking their cars to be serviced, cleaning, like all of this, right? All women can relate to this. And then all of a sudden, we're so tired and our nervous systems are so burnt out. The last thing we want to do is come home and please our man because we're
Yeah.
tired. Like physically, mentally, emotionally, we're just like, it's not that we don't want to have sex. It's like quite literally, we're exhausted on all these levels.
So what are the different roles of males and females, and where does that come from?
So in a relationship, it can be negotiated. So our fundamental baseline of what we teach mainly women is like, are you a feminine core? Do you want to be cherished over respected? Like, do you want your feelings cherished over your mind? Or do you want to be a masculine core? Or are you a masculine core? You want your thoughts respected and then your feelings cherished. None of these are wrong and has nothing to do with how you're born. It has nothing to do with your genitalia. Then from there, you can negotiate how and which it looks. Are you a masculine core? Okay, well then that looks like you're the provider for the family. You're the man. You're the masculine. You provide, protect, and cherish the feminine in your life. And that could look like she works and he stays at home. Or however. Feminine, she is respecting him. She is I always get these wrong. Patient and vulnerable with him. Feeling led. feminine core, thought-led masculine core.
Mhm.
Now, there's a lot of women out there that are masculine cores. There's a lot of men out there that are feminine cores. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. It's
Can you be
negotiated.
both?
No, if you're both, you're a narcissist.
Okay. Okay. Everybody's both.
Yes, but it's you have to
Okay.
pick one in a romantic relationship.
Everybody is
Okay, gotcha.
both.
Yes.
Pick the one that you value more. Okay.
Yes.
Because if you want both, you want heaven on earth. Does
Yes.
not exist. Stay single.
Stay single, get it, get all you want. Go work,
When
go fuck, do all of it.
when we're in a relationship, right? We give up part of ourselves in order to be half of a whole. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's a waltz, okay? If you want to be both, you're slam dancing or discoing by yourself. It's not
Can
pretty. We want to
can you
waltz
say
within a
that one
relationship.
more time?
So, within a relationship, great. Everybody is both energies. We choose one so that we can become half of a whole, and then the relationship becomes a waltz. It's a beautiful dance of flow, okay? Because that God did not see fit, whatever of your God of understanding, to make us a full being. Our soul is reflected when we fall in love, so we become half of a whole within the physical plane. Okay,
I
so the
think that's a
spiritual,
beautiful way to say that.
yeah. But
It's
if we want both, we're either slam dancing, which is basically fucking or codependency or just a disaster, or we're discoing by ourselves. You stay single if you want both. That's totally fine. I respect it. But if you want a relationship, you consciously give up half, right? So I give up my mind in a relationship and I become my heart and I let a man step in with his mind and then we get to flow and we get to dance. And I consciously do that because it feels good. And I want to be the feeling centered person in a relationship. My mind
Mhm.
is brilliant, but you know what? With a man, I don't want to think. I want him to solve my problems. I want him to fix my car. I want him to do all that because then it feels good. Okay. And for a man, it feels good when a woman goes, "Oh, babe, I just love your mind and I love that you fix my problems and it feels so good." That
Yeah.
makes me want to have sex, right? When I'm in my head, I don't want to have sex. I'm burnt out. I'm like, everything's a wreck. I usually just start crying, right? When it's in my relationship. I can do it at work. I can solve all the problems. But in my relationship, I just want to lay on the floor and cry. So understand yourself enough to know what feels good, right? I want a man to be like, be ready at 5:30 and we're going to dinner and I'm paying. And I'm like, great, I love this. I don't want to think.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So do you guys see a lot of couples?
we see,
We see all walks
we
of
see
life.
couples, we see singles.
We've worked with
We work with everything.
everybody. We've worked with
So
mothers, fathers,
what?
lesbians,
Yeah.
all of it.
So most people don't understand this. Okay. Psyche comes from the mythology of Psyche. Okay. Psychology is named after her. She was was it Aphrodite's son's wife. She is the goddess of mind, body, and soul. You have to have all three. What we do is develop all three. What are you lacking? And how do we create the triad within you that is functional enough so that your triad matches with somebody else's and that you know how to deal with being finite and fallible as a human being and somebody else being finite and fallible, but you commit to the relationship and you waltz because waltzing is done by communicating with the body and the mind. Okay. So we create harmony with mind, body, and soul. That's what most therapists and psychiatrists and everything don't do. They're so focused on the mind, they don't develop the body. You can't have one
Hmm.
without the other. And then again, like I said earlier, if you're in defiant, you have a soul problem. People that have spiritual problems have communication problems. So we unite mind, body, and soul and give you enough understanding of who you are and what you are to be able to bring who you are meant to be onto this earth, into this world, be of service, love yourself, love other people, be around who you like, and then get what you want, get rid of what you don't want, and then negotiate what somebody else wants and don't want. That's all we teach. What you want, what you
Yeah.
don't want, and then how to negotiate with another being about your wants and not wants and their wants and not wants.
So, and to answer your question, majority of them are women because women change men.
Facts.
Because of the way our brain structure is, we have two neurological connections. Our corpus callosum is bigger. We process faster. If we are in charge of communication, if we're not communicating right in our relationships, they're failing. I can guarantee it. I can most likely within 15 minutes of sitting down with Megan and I can normally, between the two of us, can normally pinpoint that 9 times out of 10 it's a communication problem and it's her fault because she doesn't know how to communicate. She's either mothering him, extremely passive aggressive, or she has no idea what she wants and her feelings. And those are the three fundamental, like Megan just said, the three fundamental bases. But women in our communication guide men into changing. We work with men. We work with men on a very similar aspect, but it's not, we can teach them how to communicate, but it's not the same because men cannot change without a woman guiding them. So yeah, we work with couples. However, 9 times out of 10, we end up continuing to work with women.
Yeah.
And because they guide men by stepping out of their masculine back into their feminine and allowing for him to be the leader of their relationship. We pretty much help women take their balls off in their relationship and just say, here, I'm giving these back to you, honey. I mean, that's literally, if you need a visual,
Yeah.
like that's what it is, because we're really good at like wearing our balls at work. We just don't know how to disconnect them and go back into our feminine at home.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. And I'm like, oh shit, I have to take these off when I get
Exactly.
home.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
got to give them back to him. Yeah. Or put them
Yeah,
in
and
your
it's hard
pocket.
to not want a power trip or,
Yes.
just keep them swinging throughout the evening.
So,
Um,
so that's a very important point. Power.
Yes.
If you are in a power struggle in your relationship, you've got a problem. It's not about
mhm.
power. I always tell women, be potent. Potency. If you fight for power in your life, it's not just in your relationships, in your life, you are in more Tito energy. You will fail because it's actually in the giving up of power that we gain it, right? When we know when to let go, when we know when to surrender, when we know when to acquiesce, that's potency. And that is true power because we have absolute control of our egos. We have absolute control of our psyche. We've confected ourselves as an individual and as a spirit having a human experience. Because when we're always on a power trip, we have absolutely no power because we're
Yeah.
completely controlled by our underdeveloped ego. A properly developed ego knows this isn't worth it. I'm just going to sit back and let this ride. That's a truly developed individual. It's never about power, but we have been taught it was. But we now fight for potency.
Well, and that
That
ego,
is a powerful statement. The
the
potency really
egos.
speaks to me.
Yeah.
Like it's not, yeah, that definitely hits home in my life, my relationships with everybody or at work or all of them. I wanted to ask, how long do people typically work? Like, what are the programs that you offer? Are they
Absolutely.
time? How are they based? How, all of that.
So we have a couple different things. We're in the process of actually launching a immersion VIP weekend. So it's 3 days with Megan and I here in Colorado. We're in the process of building that out actually as we speak.
Kat.
A really
That was Kat
a really
idea.
brilliant mind of ours brought it up to us, and she's like, you really got to do this, guys. So thank you, Kat, for that. So we're going to be working on doing
That's
a
my girl.
She's brilliant.
3 day part. Yeah, if y'all need someone, if you're entrepreneur boss bitches out there, if you want someone who knows and sees business, hit up our girl Kat, because her mind is, she's brilliant. She sees things that, so I mean, she's a projector, but which is one of her beautiful gifts, but she can see in business. She's just a brilliant mind. Marketing perspective. Anyways, so we're in the process of actually launching our 3 day VIP immersion. You get to come hang out with us. Plant medicine is optional in regards to psilocybin. There's a couple other like moving parts in that. We go really deep into somatics, communication, breaking down a lot of things very quickly in 3 days. Now, that's a very small blip into what we do. Of course, it's 3 days. We offer our 1 year program. Most of our clients actually choose and opt in for that. It's a one on one with us intensive once a week for 1 hour. It's a lot of work. You want fast track, you want to move shit, do our 1 year program. Most of our clients will come to us, they'll work with us for 1 year, and then they'll take about 6 weeks to 8 weeks off to integrate everything, and they're usually back within that time period. And then there's options. Once you've worked with us for a year, we really then customize what do you need, what do you want. We've laid down the core fundamentals. So from there, usually what happens is people will then work with us on like we call like a half year. So you'll only meet with us twice a month. And then from there, it usually builds out to where we're only meeting with clients like once a month or once a month for like maintenance. The goal is
Gotcha.
that you do not work with us like a therapist forever. We don't want we love everyone. We want to hang out with all of you. You know, we build these beautiful relationships. However, we want to like set you free. Like just like we have worked
Yeah.
with our mentors, like we want you to have independence and autonomy outside of us. Now there's maintenance and stuff like that to continue to make sure that your communication is clean and correct. So we host a women's group. That one is a core like just women relationship focused. It's twice a month. We run that currently. It's monthly $47 a month. That group also includes Slack. It's a great just women's community. Megan teaches a lot of like in-depth psychology though. This is like way deeper than just communication. This is like core fundamentals of like how to be a human being. Like last 2 weeks ago, she went over the 4 fundamental needs of what you need to exist as a human being. And then it builds. We still talk about communication. People talk about their relationships and guide like that, but it's really a deep, fundamental community of women that are truly trying to grow and learn from a psychology level. From there, then we have our 1 year program. We have our VIPs that we're launching. We have our women's group, and then we host retreats down in Mexico. They are 8 days, 7 days, 8 days.
This one's 8 days.
This one's 8 days, but they're 7 days. We work deeply in really Kundalini, plant medicine, a lot of detoxing, and a lot of overall reset of the nervous system and the mind. So, like Megan said, we're really about mind, body, spirit. It is triad. Everything that we do really in our work is done in threes. So, we work with a Shipibo based shaman. She's out of Peru. She comes up to Mexico. We do 3 nights of ayahuasca, past, present, future, mind, body, soul. And so it's beautiful. We're in the jungle of Mexico, beautiful fresh food, all of this. We really, lots of movement. There's not a lot of cell service, although there is cell service. It's a really true like disconnect for people to really go inward. It's Megan and I have spent a lot of time cultivating like what works, what doesn't work, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. And we
It
bring
sounds
people down to
beautiful.
the jungle. Yeah,
Yeah.
we leave in, well, actually, we will be there in a month. We're taking 7 people down with us to Mexico to sit in ceremony. We work with Cambo, cacao, lots of water. There's cenotes and pools, and we have the retreat center we go to is all eco-friendly. It's all built with the jungle, in the jungle. So it's a really beautiful experience for you that are people out there who have never been to Mexico, or this like triggers your nervous system. You're like, holy shit, Mexico sounds so scary. We provide private transportation to and from the airport. We Everything is very safe. We are very well traveled to Mexico. So we're not going to put you on a bus. We're not going to say good luck. We'll see you. You know, they literally, from the moment you land through, you know, by the time you get through customs, you have a custom, you know, you have literally your own personal driver with a sign picking you up. We meet you at the retreat center, beautiful, welcoming. It's a really great for us. It's a beautiful experience for our clients and to all come together and meet in person and have journeys
Yeah.
together and experiences because we're such in a tech world. Like we can meet all of these people and have our communities, you know, and like they're all over the world, you know, and so we like to really give the opportunity. It's like every 6 months. We have 2 a year. We host them. Well, our next one will be in March for people to just come together and experience that because the human connection is so important for healing. So those are our main offers. All of everything can be done with or without psilocybin too. So it doesn't mean that you have to do we don't force anybody. If you come work
Yeah.
with us, we aren't saying you have to do psilocybin. This works without psilocybin. It just allows you to see a little bit quicker and targeted pinpoint things. We also just work in very small doses. So I also want to clarify that we work in 250 milligrams of psilocybin. It's less than a Tylenol. You don't even feel it. It really is
Yeah.
just working in your brain to soften neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
So,
So
did I
for
miss
somebody like
anything?
me, I don't need to be worried that I'm going to see like gummy bears
No,
crawling up the
no,
walls in
No,
front of
no,
no,
me,
no,
no.
no, no, no,
like,
no.
yeah.
So, when you look at dosing, what so 1 gram, so 250 milligrams is 1/4 of a gram. 1 gram is where you're starting to kind of be like, whoa, things feel a little lighter. When you start getting up into those high solid number grammage, is when people start having experiences.
Yeah, we work in
We
micro.
work in such a minute, you can drive, you can work, you can
You
do
don't.
all of the things.
Yes.
Most of the time within the first week of people microdosing with us, they literally, these are their exact words, I became so much more aware of my body. Oh, like my hands, like, oh my God, I'm so grateful that I have two hands that are functioning. That's the level of high. I don't even want to say you get high because you don't.
No.
You become so aware of it that you're not high. It's not, there's no, I've never gotten high off of it.
Well, so I want to put it this way. Plant medicine, it's a consciousness. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you eat mushrooms, there's a consciousness that is then being, and you use an intention. Okay. So I don't even want you to think that you're taking a mushroom. You are ingesting a consciousness that is interacting with your consciousness and teaching you how to be more self aware and more conscious. So it's bringing the unconscious into the conscious, it's
Yep.
confecting your ego states or basically your mind. Okay. So when you take ayahuasca, you are ingesting a consciousness that's interacting with your consciousness to better you or understand your blind spots. So that's what people don't understand about plant medicine and why it's different than chemically altered. Chemically altered no longer has a consciousness.
No.
But everything alive on this planet, including trees or anything else, has a consciousness. That's why even the earth, right? You put your feet on the earth, there's an electromagnetic field. That's a consciousness. So anything that has an electromagnetic field has a consciousness to it, and we can learn from it. So that's why plant medicine is so different because there are teachers, and plants are way smarter than we are. And mushrooms in particular are the only plant medicine that is androgynous like humans. And mycelium looks a lot like a brain. Okay. So they are teaching us whatever we want to learn about ourselves. That's why we put intention when we take it. That's their consciousness interfacing with yours. So that's why it's so special. And people call it drugs and this and that. No, no, no. It's a consciousness that we work with. So, and that's what shamans work with. They work with a consciousness. And when a shaman told me that, it like changed the entire framing that I have around plant medicine. I was like, oh, that makes sense. It's a different vibration. It's a different consciousness that's interfacing with you.
Well, and it's so funny because we have this conversation at least like twice a week. People are like, "Oh my God, did you do ayahuasca?" I'm like, you like do all these drugs,
You
man?"
like
And you're like,
Hip man. I'm like,
I'm
oh
like,
gosh.
okay, hold up here.
This isn't
Ayahuasca,
Cheech and Chong.
this ain't Cheech and Chong, and
Ah,
what the shaman we work with, she doesn't add anything
no.
to the
Yeah.
ayahuasca. It's pure. And ayahuasca, all it does is it actually just shuts the acid ducts off in your stomach. That's why you have to fast before you drink medicine. That's why you take a very 2 weeks prior to going and sitting in ceremony with the actual plant. You go on a dieta, so it cleans your system. You cut out certain meats and certain frequencies in your life, sugar, red meat, things like that, pork that have consciousness, right? We consume animals if that's your thing. I consume animals, but it sounds really bad when I say that. However, what it does is it allows for the body to it goes in and coats your stomach and it turns off the acid ducts. So then what happens is then it tells the brain to say, "Hey, we're going to allow for a direct viewpoint into the subconscious." So then DMT is then released into the brain, your own DMT. This is all your own chemicals. And then it says, okay, then now here you go. Now you get to look into the subconscious and then you actually that's when downloads start to happen. So it's actually a form of dream state because
What's DMT?
DMT is what allows you to dream.
Yeah.
It's the chemical in your brain that allows you to dream. Some people will also call it the death molecule because a lot of people, when they're right before they die, or if they've had a near death experience, that'll replay like a dream state of their life or like things like that. That's DMT in the brain. And we like to use like we were talking about using actual plant-based medicine instead of using all these fake synthetics. You can get a synthetic DMT. Let me tell you, that's a bad life choice. Your own medicine. You are inside have all the answers. And when you're working with these consciousness and these plant medicines, you get to see the direct thing into you. It's like holding a mirror. And with ayahuasca, you open your eyes, you're not tripping. Like you might see some
Well, it
geometry.
depends on the person.
Yes.
I do, but
Well, you
that's
don't,
not normal.
yeah, but you don't like trip out. It's not like the walls are melting.
No, but you can see
Yeah, you see certain things.
certain people can see. It depends if you're a seer or not. Different people are different. So I don't want to tell people that they'll open their eyes and they won't see something because you might.
Well, okay, so you can see things. However, you're still conscious and you can like walk to the
Yeah,
bathroom and
yeah,
you
yeah.
can walk to the fire. You're
Yeah.
not tripping out where you're in like this like meow wolf world where you're like, oh my God, how do I get out of this? You're
Yeah.
still in reality. You're still like, these are my feet and I can walk to the bathroom or I can walk over to the shaman and I need some water and things like that. So really, this fear of these things. Now you close your eyes and then you drop back into your subconscious. You're being able to see and experience what you need to experience. And the medicine really does like give you what you need at that point. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to trip so bad and blah, blah, blah. I don't believe that there is ever a bad trip. I believe in your
Yeah.
integration and looking at your life. Like there's something off in your life that you need to observe. And I really didn't believe that until I did have a bad trip. And then I was like, Nicole, you need to freaking check yourself because you either can be a victim to this or you can listen to the medicine and see what is actually going on in your life and heal it. Because I had never to that point had a bad trip. Everything was always rainbows and like, wow, this is so cool.
Well, yeah, but negative stuff is going to pop up in any type of like healing
Always.
or changing
Always.
modalities. Yeah, it's
Yes.
it's your choice of what you want to do with it.
Yes.
Listening to you guys speak, especially on this last topic, me being an entrepreneur and always like creative state, I'm a generator, so I'm
Mm.
constantly like bubbling ideas and what
Yes.
and I feel like this could be a component of that for me to break into this like next level of what is next or what I want or maybe clarity on that in
Absolutely.
between state.
Yeah, actually, Megan, first time she did ayahuasca, she came back to the States and Megan had the full download of our company. And I looked at her like she was absolutely fucking crazy. I was like, what? She's like, this is the logo. This is what we need to do. This is how it's going to look like this. And like literally like pages and pages. And
Yep.
she just literally she was downloading to me as I was writing. And then it was like 3 or 4 days after she was like working heavily in integration is actually when we were we were having like a just like kind of a brainstorm and she was like Zenchronicity, that's the name. And I was like, what? She's like Zen and the synchronicities of the of world and we have to put it together and like it was like a full I 100% give credit to ayahuasca for Megan's download of our business. However,
Yeah.
in the early stages of it, mind you, this was like almost 5 years ago at this point. I literally was like, I had not ever done medicine at that point. I hadn't sat in ayahuasca. I didn't understand the power of it. I literally thought she was going crazy. I was like, I have no idea how to integrate this. Okay, we're here. I'm here for it though. Let's, do what we need to do. So I 100% in my own self with business. We have sat in medicine where we have had business breakthroughs outside of this. I think it's tremendously important for entrepreneurs to, explore this medicine for that, especially if you are a generator and there's all this stuff going on, right? Sometimes sitting back and like just having the opportunity with the intention of like, hey, I just want to look at my subconscious and like which way do I go? I need guidance. Because we do truly have all the answers within us. I mean, obviously, like I said, this business was birthed out of Megan's mind in a night in the jungle.
Well, I mean, Bitcoin came out of
Yeah.
ayahuasca.
So,
I mean, there's a lot of, but also like
Yeah.
entrepreneurship is directly linked to your threshold and your trauma.
yes, you will heal
All
all of your trauma.
entrepreneurs, what blocks your entrepreneurship is actually your trauma and your psyche and
Yes.
your nervous system. So going down and doing ayahuasca, because we work with a lot of entrepreneur women and men for that matter. Actually, that's our main clientele, which is kind of interesting, is them going down and working through their stuff. And they go, oh, my block in my company was my block from da 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 da. And
Yep.
it's so fascinating to watch. And
Yeah.
we've seen that even within ourselves. I'm like, oh, like my scarcity trauma, because I grew up with like, it's never enough, is directly affecting our business and something like I had to work through. And the download I got with that was I looked at a tree and ayahuasca goes, that tree never worries about whether there's going to be water or not. Why do you ever worry about whether there's enough? And so every time now that I look at a tree, I think of abundance. I'm like, that tree never worries about water. Why do I ever worry about having enough substance in my life? And like, it's just profound things like that that are so entirely simple. But like,
Yes.
that's the consciousness of ayahuasca teaching us. And like, that completely changed our framework of our company. I don't believe in lack. And if I do, I go sit next to a tree.
Yep.
And I touch a tree and I go, it never worries. It is never stressed out. It knows it will be provided for just as I will be. So, it gives you things like that when you're struggling or suffering, and then they'll come back up in your life as you need them. But that's the consciousness interfacing with yours. But ayahuasca is the single best thing I ever did for myself in my life.
Yeah, 100%.
That's why we do it in our company, is because
Yeah.
I can only do so much, and then it's between you and your God and yourself. And we can provide that with a healthy shaman, not a white boy shaman that's serving it in his basement. It's weird.
Well,
Work with a real shaman.
Yeah, and the thing too that's really important and near and dear to our heart is the shaman we work with, she uses music. Music is vibrational, it's huge, it's super healing. And that was a huge part of when we were really kind of what do we want to do? And like we've had so much movement in ourselves with this.
Well, ayahuasca even called us to do ayahuasca ceremonies.
Yeah, yeah. We were literally like it was
That
crazy.
was not a part of the company.
We were in an ayahuasca center. Megan and I had sat in ayahuasca together. It was like our first sister ceremony. And the next morning, the shaman that we work with now said, I need to tell you guys this. You've been called and this is a part of you. And then the guy who owned the retreat center walked over to us about 20 minutes later and said, I would love for you two to host retreats here. We had never contemplated retreats. And all of a sudden,
so
these
awesome.
invites, and Megan's a projector, so she has to have invites. I'm a manifesting generator, so I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Just make sure the projector's invited so she can come with us. And from there, it like all fell in place. But it also shows you like the universe is always working for you. Things are always being put in front of you. And that's one thing with ayahuasca too, is that it can show you one thing, it shows you something, but it doesn't necessarily always mean that that's how it's going to manifest. And so it's also allows you to look at it and say, okay, I see this. Now I release it. And then you will see it. You could see it in 5 days. You could see it in 5 years.
I've never seen it. Have I?
But
Could be wrong.
Yeah, we have never, in all of our experience working with the medicine, it's always very hypothetical, or it plays out sometimes very differently in your life. But we've seen people, and I mean, I'm speaking for myself. I always knew I had like a form of addiction. Like I had ebbed and flowed from like I really liked marijuana to like I really liked working really hard, right? But I never really saw it from like a different perspective, right? Because it was only my viewpoint, and ayahuasca shows you things from a different lens too. It allows you to step out of victimhood, and allows you sometimes to say, "Oh wow, like other people in my life suffered too." And have grace and understanding for them. Because there was a lot of pain like growing up. Like I was always really mad at my dad for being an addict. But like ayahuasca showed me like he had a right to be that way. And maybe that's what he was taught, And so it also shows you these things of like grace and understanding, that it doesn't have to be so rigid in your life. You can have some flow. But feminine ayahuasca is the highest vibration of feminine energy. She's grandma energy. She will give you wisdom if you are open and allow her in.
That was beautifully said. And both the analogy with the tree and what you just said, like, I truly feel like this has been wrapped up, and you guys just like put the bow on it right there with that. Like, well done, both
Mic
of you.
drop.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be the title of this episode for
Oh my
sure.
gosh.
And thank you for validating, like how you were saying you had never done it and you were kind of skeptical and
Oh
all of
yeah,
that, because
absolutely.
I know some people after listening to this, they're going to be like, okay, I'm ready. I'm all in. And other people are going to be like, but wait, that beautiful word, but, or,
Yeah.
and I think that it's a beautiful way to end this conversation. I think if
Absolutely.
people want to look into it further, I would definitely recommend them reaching out. The
Yes.
3-day VIP sounds amazing. The retreat I mean, just all of what you guys offer sounds so wonderful and so heartlit. Like that's what I'm getting a lot from this conversation is all of this comes from the heart. This is not
Absolutely.
guys didn't get into this for business, for money, for profit.
Uh,
It is to make an impact in this world, which is exactly what I know that I'm meant to do. What I'm
mhm,
here to do is to teach and to show. And I think having this podcast is part of that. So thank you so much for being here. Thanks for
absolutely.
sharing. I love that we like went off the cuff and just said some crazy
Crazy.
shit. That to
That's
me just
normal.
speaks to like you are my people,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes. Yeah. Well, Natalie, thank you so much for having us. I know we had
Thank
some
you.
technical issues in the beginning, but I'm so glad it worked out.
It did.
And
Yes.
yeah, we actually, I would love, we're about to launch our season 5 of our podcast. I would love to have you come on and serve our community in what you
Yeah.
do, and just from a mom perspective, continue on our conversation. Just, women supporting women.
I think that would be wonderful. Absolutely. And yeah, I don't think this is the last time we'll ever be in
No.
communication with each other.
Absolutely. So you're coming to Mexico in a month?
I don't know if I can commit to a month, but I'm into that 3-day VIP for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. Yeah, we're having
Yeah.
another retreat in March too, so you never know.
Kat and
That's
I
it.
can share a bedroom.
There you
Yeah, we
go.
can convince.
Yeah.
Well, she's going in October, so
Yeah.
she can be the guinea pig and then tell
Got
you
it.
like,
Okay.
totally worth it. Let's go again in March.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I already know it's worth it. There
Oh,
isn't, I don't need
you
convincing.
want a
Yeah.
soul shifting experience? Like, yeah, it will.
Yeah.
You won't come back the same.
Well,
It's wild.
and it's not just ayahuasca, it's the medicine of the jungle. We work with
Yes.
frog medicine, we work with food like 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after. Mindfulness, we do a sweat lodge, we do water, we do all of the elements.
Yeah.
So it's so like I said, it's so well thought out, and Megan and I are always tweaking it. Like every retreat, no two retreats are the same,
Yeah.
because it's always Megan will sit in meditation and we'll talk to Aurora, and we work with all of these different like parts of the feminine to create the best experience for those people that are coming.
Oh, I can't wait. This sounds so beautiful. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank
Absolutely.
you for being on the
Absolutely.
podcast. And I just appreciate your unique minds. The world is blessed to have you here.
Oh,
Well,
thank
the world
you.
is blessed to have you
Yeah.
here, and
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, it's the thing that you would do for free that is your soul's calling. And I would do this for free if I could. If I ever win the
Absolutely.
lottery, it's for free because I just love it and I love to watch. We love to watch.
Absolutely.
Do.
All right.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
ladies.
you.